Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. So recently we saw CEO take place, and for the most part it was a very enjoyable tournament, but one glaring issue was the coaching, and I think everybody was getting annoyed by how much coaching was going on. I know that might sound selfish, but we're talking as spectators here, and we're trying to look at it through the lens of people that are running a tournament and how it might affect the runtime. So there's been some conversation about coaching and if it needs to be toned down, if it needs to be banned, if it needs to be adjusted. So I'm going to give my takes on this, and then of course you guys can let me know what you think. So should coaching be banned? And the answer is yes. And when I say yes, I mean yes to a total shutdown of it. Not a minor adjusting of the rules, not a re-evaluation of the time they can spend with the coach, not a discussion on limiting how many coaching sessions you can have in a tournament or a top 8, just a flat out ban. Sajam tweeted out saying, "This top 8 is making me want to ban coaching, I can't lie." If you're wondering why, it's because it took forever every game. Rule is supposed to be only 30 seconds, I think. Now let me explain my stance to you guys. I'm going to try and give some different perspectives on this, or at least the way that I look at it. Now there is the glaringly obvious reason that it takes up too much time, can make tournaments run over, and can be abused. But there's a couple of other reasons why. Fighting games are not played in a team format. They never have been, they likely never will be. Even when you're at home on ranked, you are more than likely sitting on your own and taking on random challenges from the ranked or casual modes. There is no communication between you and your opponent, besides the people that turn on proximity chat and start cussing each other's mums. Yes, you could have a friend behind you in real life giving you pointers whilst you play, but let's be honest, when people are playing ranked mode, they're playing on their own because they don't want anyone to see them get demoted for the 17th time back to Fujin. It's not like Counter-Strike, it's not like Overwatch, and it's not like Gears of War, where you must play with the teammates, and so you are incentivized to buy a headset and communicate with your teammates to find the best route to victory. It's encouraged because the other team is likely doing it as well, and if you can coordinate effectively and execute a plan against the other players that may be scrambling for kills because they're not talking to each other, your team is more than likely going to win. Now that's not always the case. Sometimes you can just come across these absolute beasts online who have no relation and they're not communicating together at all, and they absolutely sweep your team even though you guys communicated effectively. It happens, but you get my point. There's a reason to coach each player, provide pointers on how to navigate the maps, and talk about strategies, especially when you're waiting for a new round to begin. If you then take that offline, in shooting game tournaments, they often have coaches that speak to the players in between games. The tournaments are constructed in such a way to allow teams to have a breather and communicate with each other, and so having a coach up there talking to his players makes much more sense. Like in a real war, you'll be on comms as much as possible to get the best possible outcome. These games are also much slower paced, and so the need for a breather after a long and grueling battle against another team is more than warranted. And I'm not saying that they're slow games. I've seen Call of Duty and Gears of War being played, but matches in fighting games tend to last no more than a couple seconds, especially the new age fighting games with how aggressive they are. Rounds end in like 20 and 30 seconds. It's very rare to get timeouts these days. There's a reliance on teammates to find the path to victory, and sometimes one teammate can pick up the slack for everybody else, and it helps when you're talking to each other. In fighting games, there are no teammates, there are no friends, there is no talking. It's you and your enemy on whatever map you guys have chosen, maybe an exploding volcano, and only one person is leaving in one piece. I see fighting games the way I see an underground arena match in Baki or Kengan Ashura. You talk to your handler or your coach before the fight starts, and then you go out there and you do the best that you can. You rely on your skill and your wit to overcome your enemy. The games are too fast paced to allow elongated gaps in between matches, and whilst this can yield its own type of fatigue from all of the quick decision making, it's still a battle with yourself to find the answers to beat your opponent. As Ryu says,
"The answer lies in the heart of battle."
If you did not lab an attack and you don't know it's launch punishable, for example, I do not believe someone should be able to come up and tell you that. That seems crazy to me. Because of the knowledge of another person, you've now advanced to another round. That's lame, in my opinion. Now you could say, Mike, the knowledge of somebody else in a shooting game could help a player locate the enemy and kill them. And whilst that's true, the entire game is built around coordination and teamwork. How you play will affect me because we're on the same team. So I am incentivized and I need you to understand how to approach the enemy so that I can win as well. That scenario does not exist in fighting games. You need to be a good teammate. So it's almost a skill to be able to work effectively with your teammates. I would know because I don't possess that skill. I am a horrible teammate. And I'd say it's a skill to communicate with your teammates effectively and alter your game plan to fit your teammates to find the most effective path to victory. That isn't the case with fighting games. What if you don't have a coach and the other person does? Since they're not an institution in the tournament scene the same way they are in a shooting game, isn't it slightly unfair? I would argue that it is. My next point on why coaches should be banned is it's painfully annoying for the spectator. Now just hear me out on this one. All of these new fighting games have been designed with the spectators in mind. Whether they succeeded in pleasing the spectators or not is besides the point. That was the intention. So then why are tournament organizers allowing coaches to be on stage when we don't like them? I don't speak for everybody, maybe some of you do, but judging from the reactions of CEO, most people don't seem to like it. And I'm not saying I dislike the people themselves. I'm not shitting on the coaches at all. They're just trying to find the best path to victory for their players. I'm talking about the act of being on stage and interrupting the flow of the set. If the designers wanted to please the spectators, then the implementation of coaches contradict that. At CEO, it was non-stop and it got really annoying. I get it. The players really want to win and we use whatever is available to them to do that. So you can't knock them, and I'm not knocking them for that. But if it was up to me, for the sake of the viewers, I'd just ban them and I'd tell people, get to labbing and figure it out. It takes up too much time. And you could say, well, let's just cap them at 30 seconds, but then someone will push it slightly to 32 seconds. And then somebody will push it slightly to 35 seconds and then 40 seconds and so on. And then you're right back at square one. And let's not pretend like people don't do this. If you give people an inch, they will take a mile. And again, I don't blame them because they're trying to help their friend or their player find the best way to victory. But they're not going to stick to the rules. I think that's been proven already. And it just becomes increasingly annoying for the people watching, and I imagine for the people that do stick to the rules that are sitting there waiting for the match to start. Imagine knowing that you've got somebody dead to rights and then somebody walks over and goes, just duck. That's gotta suck. Just ban it altogether. Let the players come in as prepared as possible and rely on their cunning, their skill and their wit and their adaptability to get the job done. And just to throw this in there, even though I don't think I really have to, this is nothing like real fighting, because in real fights like boxing or cage fighting or bare knuckle fighting, those sports can cost you your life. So the need to have breaks in between rounds and speak to professional fighters or coaches that are in your corner to assist you in your fight is slightly different than picking up a controller and fighting Kazuya with Jin. I think there's a big difference between fighting for your life and potentially risking brain damage than playing a fighting game. So in my opinion, I don't think coaches should be allowed to be on stage at any point in time. The only concession that I would make for this is in grand finals, if there is a bracket reset, then I don't think I mind it as much. But if I'm going to be consistent with my point, I would still ban it and just say you need to go out there and figure it out yourself. There shouldn't be people giving you pointers. The spectators don't like it. Some of the players on stage don't like it. Sometimes it can be unfair. They break the rules in terms of how long they're supposed to be up there, and it just becomes annoying. And I imagine if it's not addressed properly, it'll become more and more annoying. I don't want to tune into Evo and see someone walking on stage whispering into somebody's ear every now and then. You'll also get situations like the one we saw at the Mortal Kombat tournament where the player was trying to lock into the game. He had just won and his coach came over and interrupted him, and he went on to get absolutely battered. Now if I was the player, I'd be pissed and my friend would have some answering to do. But this is why I think to avoid these situations altogether and to potentially avoid an altercation, because you know people can get very volatile in high pressure situations, just ban it altogether. It's not rocket science, it is a video game. I understand these guys are playing for a lot of money, but at the same time I think there's more cons than there are pros. But I'd like to know what you guys think about all of this. Also shout outs to everybody that came by the live stream yesterday. It was a success. I did not think that everybody were going to tune in because I did not announce that I was going to be doing a live stream, but Burrito Voorhees is the winner of Sparking Zero, and there were quite a few of that came second place with only one answer behind him, so he got 8 points. The people in second place all got 7 points, and there was like 4 of them. So I am going to reach out to those 4 individuals and try and get your details and see if I can get a prize to you guys. But Burrito Voorhees is the winner. I've tagged him on Twitter and I will speak to him at some point during the week and he will get his copy of Sparking Zero. Whether he wants a digital copy or a physical copy, completely up to him. But once again, thank you all for coming through to the live stream. There's going to be a live stream on Saturday the 6th of July. We'll be playing some Tekken and I'll be chatting to you guys and we'll just shoot the shit like we usually do. Anyways guys, have a good day, take care and peace.